Thank you for joining us here at ALP's first inaugural development day. I think this is a great idea for innkeepers and lodging owners, property owners to be able to develop more information and gather more information from their, the comfort of their own computers. My name is Emily. I am the owner of Live.Simple.Soap, and I make handcrafted small batch soap and skincare products from my farm in Ohio. Currently, I have goats that I milk that I use the goat milk for to make the soap. And I have been doing it for about 5 years now, almost 6 years. What I wanted to start out talking about was the personal use of it, as an individual. It's going to sound really weird, but as an individual who uses soap, this isn't just something for your guests. This isn't just something for your, for others. It is something for every single person. So the idea of it is has been around for millennia. I use organic and fair trade ingredients where possible. I use sustainable palm oil, organic coconut oil, organic sunflower oil, castor oil, and soybean oil. The soybean oil and the castor oil are difficult to get in an organic way because they're very, very difficult to get organically. So I use organic ingredients where possible. And fair trade, I use fair trade shea butter, and I use obviously the sustainable palm oil as well. So I use that. I create everything from my soap shop. It's got a gentle cleansing power to it, and anybody can use it. I use all natural scents, which are 100% pure organic essential oils, and I use as many spices and herbs as possible, the majority of which I actually grow myself and dry, and then grind up in a mortar and pestle to put into the soap. So for the most part, I have hands on just about every single part of the process, from the ingredients, growing the ingredients, milking the goats, feeding the goats, being present at the birth of their babies, all the way down to the quality control check as it goes out the door. A little bit more about soap itself. Soap itself is actually, the soap that I make is an organic product, not from a USDA standpoint, but from a chemical standpoint. It actually does have a shelf life. It doesn't have any preservatives in it. It doesn't have anything in it that will unnaturally extend the life of it as a product. And so there is a shelf life to it. Eventually, the essential oils that I use will start to dissipate, and the scent won't be quite as strong. And so I always encourage people, after about 6 months, the soap itself is still perfectly usable, but the scent will be a little bit more diffused. They are eco-friendly. There's no waste involved. I take very special care in my processing part of it and the manufacturing part of it to make sure that I recycle all of my products. The containers and the tubs and the sort of thing that I use with the ingredients, make sure all of that gets recycled, but the actual product itself doesn't have any sort of waste associated with it. It's safe for septic systems, it's safe for public water systems. It just eventually dissolves, down to nothing. The essential oils that I use, I take care to blend them carefully to make sure that there are no each scent has a specific purpose, and so I have to make sure that I don't make any medical claims, because I don't make any medical claims, but I do know that each essential oil and each colorant that I use, whether it's an herb or a spice, they work together to make the benefit as much as, make the soap have as high of a benefit as possible to the user. So obviously no medical claims, but if you do know anything about essential oils or herbs and spices, You'll notice as you look through the sets that I have, the groupings of scents and colorants that I have, you'll notice that there are certain ones that are there together for a purpose. I also make shampoo bars. Shampoo bars are another way to take obviously good care of your scalp, but there's also that very low environmental impact with a shampoo bar. Again, we're back to, it dissolves down to nothing. There's no waste involved with a shampoo bar. The natural cleansing of a shampoo bar is very gentle and is there's no stripping involved with your hair when you use it. There's nothing that's going to make your hair frizzy or unmanageable or unhappy, I guess, for lack of a better word. So I also do shampoo bars. And then this is kind of going to go into the idea of talking to a lodging owner or property owner as a property owner as opposed to a personal person. But I have had a couple of property owners purchase my products to put on their gift shop shelves. So the idea of it is twofold. First of all, it helps your bottom line. It increases your revenue. As a wholesale product you purchase from me, you sell it retail, but then there's also that entire story that you are creating for your overnight guests. You are offering it for their use in their bathrooms, and then you also have it on your gift shop shelf. I kind of equate it to the idea of a Deneen mug. You use those at the coffee, in the mornings for coffee, and then you do wind up selling those, or you can wind up selling those on your shelf at checkout, and the story is there. The experience has been complete. They then take home something that reminds them of you, and you've had a connection there with that, the completion of that circle. So this is very short and sweet. There's not a whole lot to talk about, in terms of me downloading a whole bunch of information on you. It's mostly you talking to me and asking me questions. So if you have any questions, I am happy to answer them. And I will be here all afternoon. I have a couple of other things that I'm going to be talking about. I wanted to talk mostly about individuals, property owners taking care of themselves as individuals first, instead of looking towards their guests first. So I will be getting into amenity bars and what I do offer the property owners for their properties. And then a little bit later on down the day, starting around 3 o'clock, I will be talking about the Spahh line that I have, which is all natural, and it is something that you can just add straight into your amenity basket for the guest to be able to use in their room, that has a little bit more of a notch up from simply a bar of soap. So if anybody has any questions, I am here to answer them, and I'll be here for the rest of the afternoon. I was just going to open up the last 10 minutes here for question and answers. If anybody has any questions, the next 10 minutes about soap, or I had spoken earlier about personal use soap and how the organic fair trade soap, or excuse me, organic and fair trade ingredients. It's eco-friendly. The waste factor is 0. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Just as a recap, I make no medical claims. I'm not allowed to, but I do use all 100% pure organic essential oils. The colorants and the spices and herbs that I use, I grow a majority of them. I grow them, dry them, and then grind them up in my mortar and pestle to put in. They are intentionally put together. The scents and the colorants are intentionally put together. There are benefits to it, but there are no fragrance oils in it. That's one thing that I have taken a very firm stand about. There are no fragrance oils, and that way I can personally, as a migraine sufferer, I can make sure that I am not giving myself a migraine, but then I'm also not, doing harm to anybody else. There is a gift shop feature to this, where you give, you obviously have put it in your guest rooms, and then at the checkout, the guest sees that that particular amenity is for sale, and it helps your bottom line, helps your revenue. And it also gives you an opportunity to kind of close that circle of experience with the guest. I do offer custom labeling. I offer custom scenting. If there is a certain scent that you are, fond of, or there is something that you would like to try, I'm very happy to work with you on a custom scent, custom look, and then there's also, like I said, the custom labeling, so that it does have your logo on the outside of it. I'm getting into the amenity bar here side of life at this point. I do offer pillow boxes. So they're the cardboard compostable pillow boxes, or I also offer it in a paper wrapping that matches the larger retail bars that I sell. The options are kind of endless. There aren't very many requirements for it. I don't have I don't have a minimum order. I know in this time of business, the business world right now, it's really hard to kind of make a $500 minimum order. That's just not my style. So it works out, if you order 140 bars, it works out to be about 62 cents a bar or so. And then there's shipping on top of that. But again, we're talking about organic, fair trade, organic ingredients, fair trade ingredients, fair trade sourced ingredients, organic essential oils. Some of it is the goat milk from the goats that I have in our backyard that I milk. So the product itself is a high quality product. I've been doing it for about 6 years now, and I took classes. I spent 7 weeks taking soap making classes. There is actually a international association for soap makers. It's called the Soap Guild, and I am a member of that as well. That's where I have my insurance, my business insurance through them. And I took classes through a master soap maker. There are 3 levels. There's basic, intermediate, and master. I am an intermediate soap maker at this point, and I took my classes from a master soap maker. He taught us the chemistry about it and taught us what soap does. And I always thought that soap just cleaned, and come to find out it can actually do different things. So I created my own recipe. I thought about what I wanted it to do, what I wanted it to feel like, the hand feel of it, the creamy lather, the bubbly lather, the hardness of the bar. I gave that a lot of thought and created my own recipe. And that's the recipe that I use for both my standard size bar, which is approximately 3.5 ounces, and then also for the amenity bar, which is approximately 1 ounce. So it's a personal recipe of my own, and it's something that I've developed with the experience of a master soap maker. The opportunity for having custom labeling is very simple. There's a $25 graphic setup design fee. You send me your logo, I get it imported into my program. I send you a mock-up of what it looks like. You tell me if you like it or not, if we need to adjust it, if we need to change it. It's black and white. If we need to change it, readjust the sizing or whatever, and then that stays in my system. And anytime you place your order, then that just gets your logo or whatever you want it to look like, whether it's your logo or simply your in property name, it goes on the outside of it, and it becomes then another piece of branded amenity that you have in your guest rooms. I talked a little bit about custom scent blending. Because I use essential oils and I don't use fragrance oils, as long as there's an essential oil out there for it, I'm happy to work with you on it. Depending on pricing for essential oils, because there are expensive essential oils and then there are not so expensive essential oils, the price might reflect, you know, your final price might reflect a usage cost difference based on whatever scent you choose. But I'm happy to work with you on that. And then also I do offer shampoo bars. And the shampoo bars that I offer, I do them for personal use, you know, you as an individual human being, not necessarily only as a lodging owner or a property owner to offer to your guests, but you as an individual. So I do have a 4.5 ounce shampoo bar, but then I also offer shampoo bars in the pillow boxes or the wrapped up at the amenity size, which is a little bit more than 3/4 of an ounce is what they wind up being. Those have a rosemary and mint scent, so rosemary essential oil and peppermint essential oil, and they're white. They're a very creamy. They're not quite white. They're very light beige, very creamy beige color, and they are. There's no waste. It comes in a compostable wrapper, and you have a product that has nothing for you to worry about once the guest has used it. You don't have to worry about cleaning a dispenser. You don't have to worry about refilling the dispenser. It's a shampoo bar. They use it. And what I've found, I have 6 different inns that have my soaps across the country, and what we have found, just weren't really expecting it to happen, but what we found is that the people who were using the Live.Simple.Soap in the guest room were actually taking the remaining part of the bar home with them. They weren't leaving it. And one of the innkeepers made a comment to me and said that that particular innkeeper, it was an innkeeper here in Columbus, Ohio, which is about an hour south of where I'm at. She said that she thought it was because they felt that there was a value in a handcrafted, handmade, local product that this particular guest had in this inn's room, and so they took that home with them. I do have an innkeeper in Indiana who has my soap in her retail shop, and she said it has sold very, very well. So she had it in her guest rooms and then also on her gift shop shelves. So there seems to be some sort of a recognition there between the product itself and putting some sort of a value on that as something that they would be interested in taking on with them. And then to obviously have that as a custom labeled item for them to take along with them. Just like I said, I think I said it earlier, it just kind of completes that circle of experience that you're trying to create for your guests, no matter, you know, from start to finish, from the first time they go on your website or even find you on Google, all the way down to your final checkout moment with them or your follow-up email with them. You're trying to create this circle of experience for them, and to have something in their hand that has come from you that they have placed a value on seems to be another way of making that that experience connect for them. So those are the things that I've experienced. Those are the things that I have seen. Those are some of the pieces of feedback that I've gotten. Let's see, what else have I talked about here? If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. A couple of people have jumped on here kind of in the middle of this. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the chat bar over there, and we'll see if we can get them answered for you. Yeah, Jerry, it did start at 2:30. I had a couple of people start in at about 2:20, and I'm going to go through this again for the whole time. It's not necessarily one continuous form of education, but it is something where the information is all the same. You know, the only thing that's really changing are the size of the bars that I'm talking about. So with with what Jerry had mentioned about starting at 2:30, I'll just kind of hit a couple of the high points from before. Originally, when I started talking about this at 2 o'clock, I started talking about the use of personal use And it's speaking to you as a human being to a human being, not necessarily as a human being to a property owner who is only thinking about their guests. And the idea of having organic and fair trade ingredients in a product is good for your skin, first of all, but it's also there's no waste involved. It's good for your septic. It's good for if you're on a city or a village water system. There's no problems with that. There's no surfactants. There's no preservatives. It actually has a shelf life. I always say that after about 6 months, you'll start to note there's no degrading in the performance of it, but there is a diffusion of the essential oils that are used to scent it. It is an organic product, not organic FDA organic, but organic as in it has a shelf life. It has a lifespan. So you'll notice a little bit of a diffusion in the scents. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the soap itself, but I always make sure that I'm very upfront with my people when I talk to them about that, because I don't want that to be a surprise. If you've ever gotten a soap from many of the other manufacturers, you'll notice that fragrance sticks around for a long time. That's a fragrance oil. That's a synthetic. It's a synthetic addition or a synthetic product, and I don't use any of those. I use 100% pure organic oils. It is septic safe. Yes, it is septic safe. It's actually very septic friendly. But with the fragrance oil, you know, there's always that unnatural length that goes on with an added fragrance. So there isn't any of that in mine, and I always make sure the people that buy from me are aware of that. There is, and it's not something that you have to worry about. It's not something you have to actually do anything about. It's just something to be aware of. There is no waste. The products themselves come wrapped in either a pillow box or a paper wrapping, and so the waste itself is compostable. Not technically allowed to use the word biodegradable, especially if you're in California, because I believe that is an illegal term to use in California. So I'm in Ohio, but I do sell to people in California. It's compostable. If you have access to reliable recycling facilities, this is something that is able to be recycled. If you happen to live in the country and you have a burn barrel, obviously it's a piece of paper. It's good. I don't make any medical claims because I'm not allowed to. But if you have any essential oil or herbal knowledge or a way to look this stuff up, you will notice that there is a very specific intent in the essential oils that I use and the colorants that I use. When put together or when used together, there are benefits to it. And I don't claim to cure anything, but I do know that anecdotally, I have had a couple of people who have come to me and said that their skin has never felt better, and that they can now wear sweaters or long sleeve shirts because their psoriasis has cleared up with the use of my soap. And I do believe that has a lot to do with the purity of the ingredients as well as the gentle cleansing, and there's no artificial ingredients in it, in the bar soap itself. I use organic coconut oil. I use sustainable palm oil. I use organic sunflower oil, and then I also use soybean oil and castor oil. The first three are easier to get organically. Castor oil and soybean oil are more of a genetically modified product across the board, and it's very difficult to get those two products organically without breaking my bank. So I try to make sure that the product that I have is still available to anybody who would like to use it without being overboard on the cost. So that's just one of those parts of life that I have to deal with. But I try to offset that a little bit with the herbs and spices that I grow, harvest, dry, and then use in the soaps or the products themselves. We've talked a little bit about custom labeling, and I'll just kind of hit that again. The custom labeling, you send me it's a $25 one-time fee. You send me your your graphic, your logo, whether it's your actual logo for your inn or property, or if it's just something where you just want the name of your place on it or something along those lines. I upload it into my system. I send you a mock-up and you tell me yay or nay. And then if you like it, we just drive on and that stays in my system. And anytime you place an order from me, that's what comes, that's the product, the packaging that it comes, or that's what the product packaging is that it comes to you with. So I try to make it as simple as possible. I don't really have a minimum order. I had tried minimum orders, but I always felt like there was a expectation there that I wasn't prepared for. I prefer to get a minimum order of 140 bars, but the reality is that a 2-room inn or property that is only open on weekends, it's going to take them a long time to use up 140 bars, and you're going to have to deal with a storage problem for that. So I try to work with the owner themselves just to make sure that what they're ordering from me is compatible with what they need in their property, but also is realistic in what that looks like. To store 140 bars over the course of, a couple of months because you're only a 2 or a 3-room inn and you're only open on weekends is just, I don't know, that's not my style. So I will work with any of the owners to make sure that what I offer or what I am selling to you is what makes sense in your world, because my world is adjustable and can be, formatted to make anywhere from 19 bars all the way up to 300 or 400 bars all at one time. So I can adjust as I need to my ratios simply because of my production, my manufacturing down out in my shop. So that's what I have for Amenity Bars, and then also for the gift shop. I do have a few other products. That was all soap. I do have a few other products that I make. I do make a lip balm. I do make something called a lotion stick or a moisturizing stick. Personally, I am not a big fan of lotion or anything on the palms of my hands or the tips of my fingers. That makes me crazy. So I started making lotion sticks, and they are 2 ounces, and it's a moisturizing stick. You just put it on the back if you want to, and then you just rub it in, and wherever you need targeted moisturizing, it works. I do have I have people who buy it by the truckload, especially in the wintertime. I'm in Ohio, and so it gets dry around here in the wintertime. I have people who buy it 5 or 6 or 7 sticks at a time. And so they've got it next to their desk at work. They've got it next to their nightstand. They've got it, in the kitchen. They have it everywhere because it's not something where you kind of have to worry about getting it off the palms of your hands and the tips of your fingers after you put it on. So that's another one of the products that I make. At 3 o'clock, I'm going to be starting to talk about the Spahh line of products that I have. And that is something that is, I did a lot of research on that and have released that to the public here. What did I think? I did it around the middle of April, I think. It's a small line. It's body scrubs, foot soaks, and bath salts, and lotion. I don't make the lotion. I don't have the facility right now to make the lotion. Trying to maintain best manufacturing practices. The lotion making was a little bit more of a challenge, and so I took a year and months to source a lotion from a manufacturer that only has as many ingredients as you can pronounce. There are 6 ingredients in this lotion. I can say each and every one of them, and there are no artificial ingredients whatsoever. There are ingredients such as blueberry extract and shea butter and purified water, and I think there's silk fibers. It's just a very natural lotion. It's actually something that I will be making once I can make it, but best manufacturing practices right now, I don't have the space or the facility to do it at this point. So I didn't try it. But those are the things that I have for Amenity Bars: the size, the packaging, the availability, the scent options, the choices, how I can work with you to make that work for you, and make it to where if it's something that works within your business, in your building, you know, there's always the opportunity to put that on the gift shop shelves and sell it retail, which will then obviously help your bottom line. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Let's see. Jerry wanted to know about the wholesale price list. The wholesale price list I can email to anybody who is interested in it. You can actually look on my website. It's LiveSimpleSoap.com, LiveSimple soap, SOAP.com. And there is on the left-hand side, there's lodging, and then there's also one that says wholesale. So you can check out that. And that is the website, LiveSimpleSoap. You can find out all the information about me, about my manufacturing, about my farm. If you're on Facebook, I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook group called Live Simple Friends, and I've shown the birth of my goats in there. It's a little bit more behind the scenes than what you would get just from looking at my website. Lead time for ordering, it depends on how large your order is. I usually ask for about 3 to 4 weeks. There is a specific amount of time that these soaps need to go through, and it's actually called a curing stage. And so by the time I make it and the time I cut it and the time that it sits on the curing rack, the moisture has to I just lost my train of thought, but the moisture has to dissipate out of the bar itself. The longer it sits there, the harder the bar is. The harder the bar is, the longer it lasts after you've started to use it. So I usually ask for about 3 to 4 weeks just to make sure that there's enough time for the curing process to be complete so that you get the best bar possible. One of the other things that I had mentioned earlier was that circle of experience that you try to create for your guests, and the idea of having the bar of soap in the guest room and then also having it out on the gift shop shelves. That is something that kind of takes that. It's the same as having, to my mind, it's the same as having a Deneen mug. You know, that you serve your guests their coffee in, and then you have those for sale in your gift shop that they then take home, and they take home a piece of your in with them in a item that has a good connotation. It has good memories. The Weekender bar actually is the Amenity bar. I call it the Weekender bar just because I need a little bit of continuity with the Live Simple, that everything is Live Simple something. So this is Live Simple Weekender, but it basically it's exactly the same thing. The Amenity bar, it's approximately an ounce. Some people are not numbers people. I'm not really a weight person. I have a cutter that makes everything uniform, depending on at what point you get it in the curing process. The longer it is curing, the less weight that it has because of the water content in it. So we might be off like, I don't know, 1/100th of an ounce every so often, but it's approximately 3/4 of an ounce to an ounce. What I have found is that it's just about right for, I'm going to try to say this one time, just about right for 2 people for 3 nights or 1 person for 6 nights. It's approximately 6 to 7 washes. And that's been the feedback that I've gotten from the other innkeepers that I've sold to, is that there's enough left after a 2-night stay that the couple then takes it home. But it works fine for one person, the particular inn here in Columbus who uses my soap. She does a lot with business travelers. And so she said that it lasts one person approximately 6 nights or 6 washes, I guess. Yeah. So it's not an overwhelming size. They're rectangular. They are, I don't know, they fit in the palm of your hand, you know, they fit in the palm of your hand. If you ever have been to an event from the former AIHP, if you had ever gone to Cincinnati or to Albuquerque, you would have gotten a bar of soap from Live.Simple.Soap in your attendee bag. And that's the size. That hasn't changed. The pillow boxes are, it depends on what type of a look you're going for. If you're going for a minimalistic look, the wrapping it in the paper is, I think, the cleanest look. The wrapping it in the paper makes the storage of it a little bit easier, because the pillow boxes, there's a little bit of extra material there with those pillow boxes. And so having them wrapped in the paper, if space is an issue or space is at a premium for storage, having it wrapped in the paper is probably your best bet. The minimalistic look then is, it's a very clean, you know, the paper on the outside of it is cream colored, and then in black and white it's printed with your logo, or if you don't want your logo on there, it doesn't have to be able to say Live.Simple.Soap on it. And then the title of the scent that you choose. And if you were to wind up doing a scent, a custom blended scent, then we would create a name for that, and it could be the I don't even know how to do this, the White House scent. It would be like, you know, Donna, what's the name of your inn? The Fig Street Inn. So it'd be like the Fig Street, you know, Fig Street Inn scent or something along those lines. We can name it whatever you want to, because it will look whatever you want it to look like. That's where working with me is a little bit easier, because I have the flexibility to do any of this stuff. If you want it to have your logo on it, again, it's a $25 fee. You send me the graphic, I upload it, and then I send it back to you for approval. That stays in my system, and anytime you place your order from me, that's what it gets wrapped in. So we have a little bit of flexibility there. And for scent creation, we can make it, as long as, like I said, as long as there's an essential oil connection or combination that you're interested in, we can work with that. Let's see. Yes, the logo is only black and white. A couple of different reasons. First of all, my logo itself is black and white. For a minimalistic, color is, I don't know, it's strange. But for my own self, I've had a black and white logo for a very long time. And my printer that I print the logo, if you were to get the pillow boxes, is only a black and white printer. It's a specific, it's a specialty printer that I have to make the labels that go on the outside of that attach to the outside of the pillow boxes, both front and back. The back of it has all of the ingredients and the weight and where to contact. That'd be me. They'd contact me if they had any problems. They wouldn't contact you. And then the front of it is then your logo or my logo with the name of the soap on it. So it is a black and white logo for both the pillow boxes and wrapped in the paper. So I will just sit here for a couple more minutes. Around 3 o'clock, we're going to talk about the Spahh line that I have. Again, that is something that I started probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's body scrubs, which is a sugar base, and then salt foot soak and salt bath soaks. So those are another line that I have that is available to the innkeepers or to the property owners. The bars themselves, the bars for the personal use bars are about 3.5 ounces. And then the bars for the amenity size or the weekender size are approximately an ounce, between 3/4 of an ounce and an ounce. And those, Annette, can get wrapped in either the paper wrapping that matches the rest of my products, or I also offer it in pillow boxes. And I do offer custom labeling to where you would send me your label, or excuse me, your logo, and then I would put that on the outside of the label. So you have a choice. There's no cost difference, but you have a choice between pillow boxes or the paper wrapping on the outside of it. And I do have about a 3 to 4 week lead time, which I ask for. With it being a product that needs time to cure, I do need that amount of time to make sure that the product itself is ready to be sent to you. It's not something that I can just make one day, wrap the next day, and ship out the following day. It takes time to cure. Do I make the new shampoo bar? Yes, I have a shampoo bar. And I make that in both the amenity size, which is the 3/4 of an ounce to an ounce, and then also in the personal size, which is it's almost 5 ounces. It's a bigger bar for the shampoo bar than my standard body bar is. But the shampoo bar and the amenity bar of soap for the hospitality are both the same size. I need them to both fit in the same pillow box. And just to clarify, I work with innkeepers and property owners to make sure that I don't really have a minimum order requirement. So I work with you to make sure that what you're ordering from me makes sense for your side of it. Use the example that if my minimum order was 140, which I've tried and I didn't care for it, but if you only have a 2-room facility, that's going to take you a long time to go through, potentially take you a long time to go through 140 bars. And if storage space is at a premium, trying to store that is inconvenient. And so I try to make sure that I work with all of my property owners so that what you're dealing with on your side of it makes sense for you, because I'm flexible on my side of it. I can adjust from a minimum order of 19 bars to a maximum at one-time order of 450 or 500 bars. So I have the flexibility within my manufacturing facility. I have that flexibility to work within whatever it is that you need as an owner to make it work best for you on your side of it. I want it to make sense on your side of it. And so I just do whatever I have to do to make sure that is it's not an inconvenience for you to have to try to find storage for 450 bars of soap if you don't need that many at one time. The website is www.LiveSimpleSoap.com, LiveSimpleSoap.com, LiveSimpleSoap.com. And the left-hand side is where you'll find the options for lodging properties and wholesale orders. And I do know that there are quite a few items that are sold out. It's been a very busy couple of months here. Oddly enough, it's been a very busy couple of months, and my store itself, my online store, I don't have a brick and mortar store, but my online store, there are sold out items, but those products are actually curing, and they will be brought back into the inventory shortly. I came up with a product line called Live Simple Spa, And the idea of it was to create, or was to offer, a set of products that people could use for not being, at a time where they weren't able to leave their houses to go to get a pedicure or to go and have a massage, or any type of self-care that was kind of being restricted. So I created this line of products that are all natural, no fragrance oils, and septic safe, as well as city water or village water safe as well, also. So what it is, it's a line of foot soaks or bath salts. And I also do a sugar body scrub. The foot soak and the bath salt, obviously, are salt-based. I had taken some time about a year and a half ago and done some research for a salon in the area, and they wanted to be able to do pedicures with a little bit more of an all-natural product line. And so, because I'm a farmer, we cure our own meat and do our own processing, I knew that salt was something that could be used as an antibacterial, antimicrobial item. So I did some research, looked up all sorts of different articles and pieces of information that talked about salt and how much salt you would need in certain capacities in order to create an environment that was antibacterial and antimicrobial as well. The result of that is the bath salt and the foot soak that can be used either in a pedicure situation or in simply a bathtub in a guest room. I've started talking to innkeepers about it, and my line for them is to put a little bit more ah in their stay, to offer their guests a little bit more of an ah in their stay, and to be able to do that individually, to where you're not offering an entire spa or an entire situation. You only are taking up a little bit of space in a guest room or in a guest bathroom. You're actually offering them something that is a step above what they would be accustomed to, or a step above what they're expecting in a property during their stay. And so I've talked a little bit about some of these products that I've created. I use Dead Sea salt, pink Himalayan salt. There's a black sea salt that I use as well. I use all natural, 100% pure organic essential oils, no fragrance oils. And then if I don't really even use any botanicals in there, because I use lavender buds in the double lavender. I have a double lavender bath salt, and it has organic lavender buds that I've grown and dried myself. And then it also has 100% pure organic lavender essential oil in it. And those are the only botanicals that I use. I try to make sure that any sort of result of any of my products have as minimal of an effect on the environment as possible, and also as minimal of an effect on your plumbing as possible. And so to have any sort of those botanicals going down your drain, I don't particularly subscribe to that as a good thing. So I try to keep that at a bare minimum. The packaging is reusable. They come in glass jars. And then you also purchase then the refill bags, which are recyclable. And then you just can refill the jar itself. I am happy to talk with you about custom labeling for that. I'm actually open to the concept of custom scents for that as well. But my standard line is very minimalistic for a reason, for a purpose. So if you have any questions, you can contact me at info@LiveSimpleSoap.com. I'll always answer emails. I'd rather take phone calls personally, though. I think a little bit more can be inferred and conveyed voice to voice rather than word to word on an email. So you can reach me at 740-627-6806. I'm in Ohio on Eastern Standard Time. My website is LiveSimpleSoap.com. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Pinterest. I feel like I'm a lot of other places, but I think that's it. I'm a member of ALP. I'm also a member of the International Association for Soap Makers, and I actually took classes from a master soap maker to become a soap maker. So I have a number of weeks of classes under my belt in order to fully create what I create. I take lye and 5 oils and put them together and make a bar of soap. So this is all ingredients from scratch, made by me. I also milk the goats for the goat milk soap, and use as many herbs and spices and botanicals as I can that I grow myself. I use peppermint, rosemary, sage, lavender. I have a chocolate mint that I'm working with something, and I have an orange mint that I'm working with something on. So as much as I possibly can create myself from scratch, from the ground up, I do. And if you have any questions, I am happy to talk. I'm flexible. I can make any sort of order size work, even if it's just something where you'd like to test it out. I have an who uses my product, and she wanted to test it use it kind of as a in one of her higher level price range rooms, just to see if it was something that the guests noticed a difference in, and they did. So if you have something that you'd like to just elevate one particular set of rooms in your property, I'm happy to talk. My minimum is very, very low. I can make anywhere from a 19 bar batch up to a multiple 100 bar batch. So I'm very flexible with that, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So thank you for joining. Thank you for being interactive with me, and I look forward to talking to you all soon. Bye.